Hello, my granny kids. Today is April 1st, 2020. And I decided to do Bible stories for my granny kids from this book that was given to your granny in 1963. So bear with me. I might mess some words up, but I'm only human. Okay? The first story is from the Old Testament, Adam and Eve. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This is the first thing the Bible tells us. Out of the darkness, God made the beautiful world that we live in. He made night and day. He separated sky and earth, land and sea. And when the world was formed, God created living creatures on it. Finally, God made man and woman. The first man was called Adam, meaning man or earthman. For God had created man out of the earth. The woman was named Eve, meaning living. Adam and Eve lived in a beautiful garden where they had everything they needed without worrying or working. This garden was Eden. This garden was called Eden. And they lived in perfect happiness. And God talked to them directly, telling them everything they needed to know. This garden was also called paradise. God gave Adam one firm command. There was one tree whose fruit must not be tasted. This was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now Adam and Eve have never known anything bad. So they could not understand the difference between good things and evil things. God knew that if Adam and Eve learned that things could be bad, they and all men and women after them would be subject to fear, anger, hatred, and sadness. Perfect happiness such as theirs would never again be known on earth. One day, when Eve was admiring the beautiful fruit tree, the forbidden tree, she met a serpent we call a snake. The serpent urged her to pick up the luscious fruit. But Eve knew God said she and Adam could have everything but this fruit. The serpent, however, persuaded her that the fruit would make them as wise as God himself. That he explained the only reason God didn't want them to eat it. Tempted by the serpent's words and the beauty of the fruit, Eve picked it, and her and Adam both tasted it. Immediately, they knew they had done wrong. Afraid and ashamed, they hid among the trees. God came into the garden that evening, and finding Adam and Eve hiding, made them tell him what they had done. He sternly explained to them what they were now faced with. They must leave the beautiful garden forever and go out into the world. They must work long and hard and make the land produce enough to keep them alive. They would have children, but both they and their children would always know hardship and sadness. And God's word proved to be only true. No sooner had Adam and Eve's first two sons grown up than a terrible thing had happened. Their sons were named Cain and Abel. Cain, the elder, was a farmer, and Abel was a shepherd. Adam and Eve had not forgotten God, but since they could no longer talk with him, each of the family offered gifts to God as things they produced. Each of the family offered things to God of the things they produced, to show that they knew and were still his children. One day Cain and Abel fell into a bitter, violent quarrel about their offering and what was most pleasing to God. When it ended, Abel lay dead upon the ground, and the first dreadful crime against man had been committed. God punished Cain severely, but he did not kill him. He protected Cain from death at the hand of any man, and Cain lived and found a family of his own. God still loves us. Even when we do wrong, he still loves us. Okay, my next one will be Noah. I think we all know a Noah. Until then, I love you all.